नमस्ते बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। I am Dr. Bharat Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Pathology, Faculty of Homeopathic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Today's topic is edema, some important types of edema. Important types of edema are renal edema, pulmonary edema, cerebral edema, cardiac edema, hepatic edema, nutritional edema, and myxedema. First is renal edema. Edema in nephrotic syndrome, since there is a persistent and heavy proteinuria in nephrotic syndrome, there is hypoalbuminemia causing decreased plasma oncotic pressure resulting in severe generalized edema, nephrotic edema. The nephrotic edema is classically more severe, generalized, and marked and is present in the subcutaneous tissue as well as in the visceral organs. Edema in nephritic syndrome. Edema occurring in conditions with diffuse glomerular disease such as in acute diffuse glomerulonephritis and rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis is termed nephritic edema. In contrast to nephritic edema is primarily not due to hypoproteinemia because of low albuminuria but is largely due to excess excessive reabsorption of sodium and water in the renal tubules via renin-angiotensin-aldosterone mechanism. The nephritic edema is usually mild as compared to nephrotic edema and begins in the loose tissue such as on the face, around eyes, ankles, and genitalia. Third is edema in acute tubular injury. Acute tubular injury following shock or toxic chemicals result in gross edema of the body. The damaged tubules lose their capacity for selective reabsorption and concentration of the glomerular filtrate, resulting in excessive retention of the water and electrolytes and consequent oliguria. Now, second is cardiac edema. Generalized edema develops in right-sided and congestive cardiac failure. Pathogenesis of cardiac edema is explained on the basis of the following mechanism. First is reduced cardiac output causes hypovolemia, which stimulates intrinsic renal and extrarenal hormone renin-angiotensin-aldosterone mechanism as well as ADH secretion resulting in sodium and water retention and consequent edema. Due to heart failure, there is elevated central venous pressure which is transmitted backward to the venous end of the capillary, raising the capillary hydrostatic pressure and consequent transudations. Third is chronic hypoxia may injure the capillary endothelium causing increased capillary permeability and result in edema. This is called forward pressure hypothesis. Pulmonary edema. Etiopathogenesis. Pulmonary edema can result from either the elevation of pulmonary hydrostatic pressure or the increased capillary permeability. Elevation in pulmonary hydrostatic pressure. In heart failure, there is increase in the pressure in pulmonary veins, which is transmitted to the pulmonary capillaries. This result in imbalance between pulmonary hydrostatic pressure and the plasma oncotic pressure so that excessive fluid moves out of pulmonary capillaries into the interstitium of the lung. Examples of pulmonary edema by this mechanism are seen in left heart failure, mitral stenosis, pulmonary vein obstruction, thrombotoxicosis, cardiac surgery, nephrotic syndrome, and obstruction to the lymphatic outflow by tumor or inflammation. Second is increased vascular permeability or irritant edema. The vascular endothelium as well as the alveolar epithelial cells, alveolar capillary membrane may be damaged causing increased vascular permeability so that excessive fluid and plasma proteins leak out initially into the interstitium and subsequently into the alveoli. Acute high altitude edema. Individuals climbing to high altitude suddenly without halts and without waiting for acclimatization to set in suffers from serious circulatory and respiratory ill effect. Cerebral edema. Cerebral edema or swelling of the brain is the most life threatening example of the edema. The mechanism of fluid exchange in the brain differ from elsewhere in the body since there are no draining lymphatics in the brain, but instead the function of the fluid electrolyte exchanges in performed by the blood-brain barrier located at the endothelial cells of the capillaries. Cerebral edema can be of three types. Vasogenic edema. This is the most common type and its mechanism is similarly to the edema in other body sites from increased filtration pressure or increased capillary permeability. Second is cytotoxic edema. The underlying mechanism is disturbance in the cellular osmoregulation as occur in some metabolic dearrangements, acute hypoxia, and with some toxic chemicals. Interstitial edema. This type of cerebral edema occurs when the excessive fluid crosses the epidermal lining of the ventricle and accumulates in the preventricular white matter. Hepatic edema. Briefly, the mechanism involved in causation of edema of the legs and ascites in cirrhosis of the liver is as under. There is hypoproteinemia due to impaired synthesis of protein by the diseased liver. Due to portal hypertension, there is increased venous pressure in the abdomen and hence raised hydrostatic pressure, and failure of inactivation of aldosterone in the diseased liver and hence hyperaldosteronism. Secondary stimulation of renin-angiotensin mechanism promoting sodium and water retention. Nutritional edema. Edema due to nutritional deficiency of proteins, kwashiorkor, prolonged starvation, famine, fasting, vitamin beriberi due to vitamin B1 deficiency, and chronic alcoholism occurs on legs, but sometimes may be more generalized. The main contributing factor are hypoproteinemia and sodium water retention related to metabolic abnormalities. Myxoedema. Myxoedema formed hypothyroidism is a form of non-pitting edema occurring on skin of face and other parts of the body, as also in the internal organs due to excessive deposition of glucosamine glycans in the interstitium. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you all enjoy this session. If you have any query, please mention it in comment box. Thank you.